I spent 6 years working full-time while earning my master's degree in clinical psychology, 6 years of late nights, missed weekends, and sacrificing every spare moment to achieve my dream. My husband, Mark, supported me completely, picking up extra chores and being my shoulder to cry on during the tough times. My own family was ecstatic. They've been cheering me on since I became the first person in our family to go to college. But my in-laws, that was a different story entirely. Another degree, Martha, my mother-in-law, had said with that particular smile that never reached her eyes. Darling, wouldn't your time be better spent focusing on giving Mark children? Or at least learning to cook properly? That was 3 years ago. Last month, when I announced my graduation date, she didn't even try to hide her disdain. It's just so common now, isn't it? Everyone has a degree these days. Sarah from my book club has 3, and she's nothing special. But still, I invited them, sent proper invitations, reserved extra seats, even offered to pay for their hotel room since the ceremony was 2 hours away. Mark was sure they'd come around. Their family, he kept saying. Of course they'll be there. The morning of my graduation, Martha texted. Something came up. Nordstrom's is having their annual sale. Emma needs my opinion on bridesmaid dresses. Send us pictures. Emma is my sister-in-law, Mark's younger sister, and Martha's pride and joy. The perfect daughter who followed the perfect path. Prestigious university, sorority president, engaged to a surgeon. She'd never worked a day in her life, living off her trust fund and Martha's endless generosity. I cried in the bathroom for 10 minutes before putting on my cap and gown. Mark was furious, but I made him promise not to confront them. Today is about celebrating, I insisted. Let's not let them ruin it. My family filled the empty seats, cheering so loudly when I walked across the stage that people turned to look. We had a beautiful dinner afterward, and I almost managed to forget about the conspicuously absent in-laws. Almost. Then, last week, the email arrived. The subject line read, URGENT, Emma's bridal shower contribution required. Martha had created a detailed spreadsheet of expected contributions from each family member for Emma's intimate bridal shower. My assigned amount, $2,500. The itemized list included custom flower wall for photos, $800. Professional photographer, $500. Personalized champagne bottles for each guest, $400. Designer party favors, $300. Premium catering, $500. And my personal favorite, family unity contribution, $0. The email ended with, as family, we all need to pull together to give Emma the celebration she deserves. Your contribution is due by Friday. Cash or check only, no gift cards. I stared at my laptop screen for a full minute before I started to laugh. It was either that or cry. Mark read the email over my shoulder, his face darkening. They can't be serious. After skipping your graduation for a shopping trip. Oh, they're serious, I said, opening my desk drawer. But so am I. I pulled out a photo I'd been saving for 3 years from Martha's 60th birthday party, a lavish affair she'd insisted on hosting at the country club. In the photo, Martha was accepting an award for Philanthropist of the Year for her supposedly generous donations to local children's charities. What nobody knew, except me, was that those donations had never happened. I discovered the truth during my internship at the hospital's psychiatric unit. While organizing old records, I found documentation showing that Martha had forged donation receipts, using the money instead to fund Emma's luxury lifestyle. She'd been doing it for years, claiming tax benefits and social acclaim for charity work that never existed. I kept quiet, partly for Mark's sake and partly because I hoped they'd eventually accept me. But now, looking at that demanding email, I knew it was time. I went to Hallmark and bought their fanciest congratulations card. Inside I wrote, Dear Martha and Emma, congratulations on your loss, the loss of your perfect facade. I'm declining to contribute to the bridal shower. Instead, I've donated $2,500 to the Children's Hospital Foundation in your name. You know, the one you've been pretending to support for the past decade. Enclosed is a photo you might recognize. I have copies of all the documentation proving the fraud. Consider this my last act as family before I step away permanently. Best wishes, the daughter-in-law you never wanted. I enclosed the damning photo, sealed the envelope, and sent it via priority mail with tracking. Are you sure about this? Mark asked as we watched the mail truck drive away. It's going to explode the family. What family? I replied quietly. They've never seen me as family. Never seen us as family. Your mother skipped my graduation to go shopping, Mark. Shopping. After 6 years of work. He was quiet for a moment. I know. I've known for a while. I wanted to believe they'd change. People only change if they want to. Your mother and sister want everything to stay exactly as it is, them at the center and everyone else serving their needs. The tracking number showed Martha received the card the next morning. For 2 hours, nothing happened. Then my phone exploded with notifications. First came the text from Emma. How dare you 3T in my mother? You are he just jealous because a yoyal lingi vigir b as a ccs as me. Mark well any vigir choose you o vr fame. Then Martha's emails escalating from fury to panic. This is a misunderstanding. Those documents are fake. We can talk about this like adults. Please don't do anything hasty. Finally, the family group chat erupted. Martha, Sarah is trying to destroy our family with lies. Emma, she's always been jealous of us. Aunt Susan, what lies? What's happening? Uncle George, someone explain. I blocked them all before I could see more. Then I turned off my phone and looked at Mark. Your turn, I said softly. Whatever you decide, I'll understand. But I'm done pretending. He picked up his phone, opened the family chat, and typed, Mom, Emma, Sarah's not lying. I've seen the proof. We're done. Don't contact us again. Then he blocked them too. Well, I said into the sudden silence. That's that. Mark pulled me close. I'm sorry it took me so long to stand up to them. You deserve better. We both did. As we stood there, my phone beeped with an email notification from the Children's Hospital Foundation. Thank you for your generous donation of $2,500 in honor of Martha and Emma Wilson. Sometimes the best revenge isn't just exposing the truth, it's finally being free to live it. The aftermath was exactly what you'd expect from people who had spent decades maintaining a perfect facade. Complete nuclear meltdown. Within 24 hours, Martha launched a full-scale social media campaign to paint me as a disturbed individual who was attacking a respected family out of jealousy. Emma posted tearful Instagram stories about how I was trying to ruin her special time and destroying family unity. What they didn't expect was for their carefully constructed house of cards to collapse so quickly. The first crack appeared when the Children's Hospital Foundation, after seeing Martha's public posts denouncing me, released a statement. In light of recent social media discussions, we wish to clarify that prior to this week's donation of $2,500 in the names of Martha and Emma Wilson, we have no record of any contributions from the Wilson family, despite their public claims of substantial support over the past decade. Then came the dominoes. Other charities started checking their records, the local women's shelter, the Literacy Foundation, the Animal Rescue League. All organizations Martha had claimed to champion. All came up empty. I don't understand, Mark said, reading through the growing scandal on his laptop. Why did she do it? We have money. Dad left her more than enough. Image, I replied, grading papers for my new teaching position at the university. Your mom needed to be seen as the perfect philanthropist, but she didn't want to actually part with the money. It was never about helping people, it was about being seen as someone who helps people. Mark's phone buzzed again, his father's sister, Aunt Claire. She wants to meet, he said, showing me the message. Said she has something we need to see. Aunt Claire had always been the family outsider, living modestly and rarely attending Martha's elaborate social functions. Now I wondered if she'd known more than she let on. We met her at a quiet coffee shop across town. She brought a thick manila envelope. I've been waiting for someone to finally stand up to Martha, she said without preamble. When Robert, your father, died, he left specific instructions about his estate, instructions that Martha ignored. She pulled out documents, the original will, bank statements, letters. Robert had wanted half his estate to go to charitable foundations, with Martha as trustee. The other half was to be split between his children, held in trust until they demonstrated financial responsibility and moral character. Martha rewrote history, Claire explained. Claimed Robert left everything to her unconditionally. She used the charity money to fund Emma's lifestyle and her own social climbing. I tried to fight it, but she had too much influence in town. Mark looked devastated. Why didn't you tell me? Would you have believed me? Claire asked gently. Martha had you all convinced she was perfect, that anyone questioning her was just jealous or bitter. She was right. Until now, we would have dismissed any criticism of Martha as spite. The next blow came from an unexpected source. Emma's fiancé, Dr. James Preston. He showed up at our door looking shell-shocked. Did you know? He asked without greeting. About Emma's degree? What about it? It's fake. The whole thing. She never graduated. The transcripts she showed my family, her supposed magna cum laude, were all forged. The hospital HR department discovered it during a routine check because her name came up as a potential board member's wife. I felt a surge of pity for James. He built his future on Emma's lies, just as we all had with Martha's. There's more, he said, sinking onto our couch. The trust fund she claims to live on? It doesn't exist. She's been using my credit cards and her mother's money. I'm calling off the wedding. The bridal shower drama suddenly seemed very small compared to what was unfolding. Martha's carefully curated world was crumbling. Her country club membership was suspended pending investigation into her charity fraud. Her social circle, sensing blood in the water, began distancing themselves. Even her book club kicked her out. Then came the letter from the IRS. They're auditing 10 years of her tax returns, Mark said, reading the official notice forwarded by the family lawyer. All those charitable deductions she claimed. How much trouble is she in? A lot. And that's not counting potential fraud charges from the charities themselves. Emma wasn't faring much better. James' announcement of their broken engagement sparked a flood of revelations from people who had been scared to speak up before. Former classmates confirmed she had never attended the classes she claimed. A sorority sister revealed she'd been kicked out for stealing, not stepped down to focus on academics, as she had claimed. Through it all, Martha kept trying to reach us. The emails grew increasingly desperate. Mark, darling, you know Mommy only wanted the best for our family. Sarah, we can work this out. Name your price. You're killing your sister's dreams. Think of what this is doing to our reputation. We maintained our silence, but it was harder on Mark than he wanted to admit. 30 years of conditioning doesn't disappear overnight. I keep thinking about Dad, he said one night. All those years Mom talked about honoring his memory, using his name to gain influence. She was actually destroying everything he wanted for us. I held him while he cried, mourning not just his father but the family he thought he had. A week later, we received an unexpected gift, a letter from the Children's Hospital Foundation. They were starting a new program to provide mental health services to long-term pediatric patients and their families. Would I be interested in consulting, given my background in clinical psychology? It's perfect, Mark said, watching me read the proposal. Dad would have loved this, actually helping people, not just pretending to. I looked at my husband, seeing the strength that had always been there, just waiting for permission to stand up to his mother's manipulation. We could do it together, I suggested. They need financial oversight too. Put your MBA to use for something meaningful. He smiled, a real smile, not the plastic one his mother had insisted the family wear in public. Think we could start a new Wilson family tradition. One based on actually doing good instead of just looking good. I think, I said, that's exactly what we should do. Martha and Emma's bridal shower never happened. Instead, we took the $2,500 we would have been guilted into contributing and established a scholarship fund at the hospital. The Robert Wilson Memorial Scholarship, for pediatric nurses seeking advanced degrees. Sometimes the best revenge isn't just exposing lies. It's building something true in their place. 1 year later, I stood at a podium in the Children's Hospital conference room, addressing a group of medical staff and donors. Behind me was a plaque reading, Robert Wilson Mental Health Wing, and beside me stood Mark, beaming with genuine pride. When we started this program, I said, we wanted to create something real, something that actually helped people, not just appeared to help. In our first year, we've provided mental health support to over 200 families dealing with long-term pediatric illness. That's 200 families who found hope when they needed it most. The applause was warm and sincere, so different from the calculated social approval Martha had always chased. As I stepped down, a nurse approached me with tears in her eyes. "My daughter was in this hospital 10 years ago," she said. "We nearly broke under the stress. If we'd had a program like this," she hugged me impulsively. "Thank you for making it real." Real. That word kept coming back. We'd heard through the grapevine about Martha and Emma's new reality. Martha had avoided jail time for the charity fraud by agreeing to pay substantial restitution, but her social standing was destroyed. She sold her mansion and moved to a small condo in Florida, where she reportedly tried to rebuild her influence, but found her reputation had preceded her. Emma, faced with actual consequences for perhaps the first time in her life, had a complete meltdown. After James canceled the wedding, she tried to sue him for emotional distress. When that failed, she attempted to restart her social media influencer career. But followers were more interested in her exposed lies than her lifestyle tips. The last we heard, she'd moved in with Martha in Florida, both of them telling anyone who would listen that they had been victimized by their family's jealousy. Aunt Claire, on the other hand, had become a regular part of our lives. She helped us establish the Robert Wilson Foundation, ensuring that Mark's father's original wishes for his estate would finally be honored. "Your father would be so proud," she told Mark during the wing dedication ceremony. "Not just of the foundation, but of you. Standing up for what's right isn't easy, especially against family." Mark squeezed my hand. "I had a good example to follow," he said, smiling at me. The foundation work helped him heal, giving him a way to connect with his father's memory without Martha's toxic filter. He even found old letters Robert had written, expressing hopes that his children would use their privileges to help others, not just help themselves. "I keep thinking about that bridal shower," Mark said as we drove home from the ceremony. "The one that started all this. Mom wanted $2,500 for a flower wall and custom champagne bottles. And now that money's helping put a nurse through graduate school," I finished. "Exactly. It's like all those years we were looking at success through Mom's lens, status, appearances, controlling the narrative. But this feels like actual success." We pulled into our driveway, the same modest house we lived in before, though we could afford better now. We had decided to put extra money into the foundation instead of upgrading our lifestyle. Inside, I found a letter from a hospital. Another nurse had completed her certification through our scholarship program. Attached was a photo of her with her pediatric patients, all smiling real smiles. I pinned it to our refrigerator, right where Martha's demanding email about the bridal shower had once been taped. The contrast wasn't lost on me. "Sarah," Mark said, reading the letter over my shoulder, "do you ever regret sending that card? Exposing everything." I thought about it carefully. I regret that it hurt you. I regret that your childhood memories are tainted now. But I don't regret the truth coming out. Some things need to break before they can heal properly. He nodded slowly. "You know what's weird? I feel more like my father's son now than I ever did trying to live up to Mom's expectations. Like, maybe this is who we were supposed to be all along." The next day, I received an email from Martha, her first attempt at contact in months. The subject line read, "You've made your point." Inside was the same old manipulation. "Darling, surely this has gone on long enough. You've established your little charity, made your statement. Now it's time to be family again. Emma's planning another engagement party." I didn't bother reading the rest. Instead, I opened my drawer and pulled out the original Hallmark card, the one that had started it all. I kept it as a reminder. "Congratulations on your loss," it read, but now I realized what had really been lost and what had been found. We'd lost the illusion of a perfect family, but found an authentic one. Lost social status, but gained genuine respect. Lost toxic relationships, but built meaningful connections. I pinned the card next to the nurse's photo on our fridge. A reminder that sometimes the best gifts come disguised as losses. That evening, as Mark and I reviewed applications for the next scholarship recipient, I felt a deep sense of peace. The kind that comes not from winning a battle, but from finally fighting the right one. "You know," Mark said, reading a particularly moving application, "Mom always said family was everything. But I don't think she ever really understood what family meant." "And what does it mean?" I asked. He gestured to our kitchen wall, now covered with photos of scholarship recipients, thank you letters from families, and pictures of our hospital programs. "This," he said simply, building something meaningful together, supporting people who need it, being real, even when it's hard. I looked at my husband, really looked at him. The anxious need to please his mother was gone, replaced by genuine confidence. He had lost his fake, perfect family but found his real self. Sometimes the best revenge isn't just exposing lies or walking away. Sometimes it's building something so true, so meaningful, that the lies become irrelevant. Martha's demand for $2,500 had started it all. But in the end, she gave us something priceless, the freedom to be authentically ourselves. And that was worth more than all the flower walls and custom champagne bottles in the world.